action.
Hi, my name is Gary Mabry. Today I would like to talk to you about how a computer works and explain to you about how all these parts work together to make a computer start up. By getting to know how your computer works will benefit you both mentally and physically as well. I know that sometimes it's frustrating when you go to start the computer and it does not want to start correctly. You think to yourself, every time you start the system, it takes longer and longer and longer to get going. Who knows, some of this information that I give you today may even help you troubleshoot your system and possibly to fix it yourself. But for sanity's sake, always keep this thought in mind. Computers are like air conditioners. They usually stop working when you open the windows. So, during the next few minutes, I'll go ahead and explain to you how the computer works by defining each part, by explaining what the part actually does, and the sequence of events and some possible troubleshooting options. Most all computers have the same parts. They include a case, a power supply, the motherboard, which is here, the microprocessor, a memory card, a hard drive, read-write CD-ROM on the front, a video card, which is here, a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. And each of these parts mentioned has its place in accomplishing the goal of making a computer work. So now let's talk about what the part actually does. The case, basically what you see, it holds all the components together. The power supply, pretty simple, straightforward item. It supplies power to the motherboard and the other items. The motherboard, printed circuit board, it supplies all the power to all the other parts that are required to operate the computer. The microprocessor right here is also known as the CPU. It's the engine of the computer. In June 2001, Jeff Tyson, a Microsoft certified engineer of HowStuffWorks.com, tells us that a computer revolves around that microprocessor, and so do most of the appliances, obviously, in your home. They have them as well. The memory card is basically short-term and high-speed storage memory that your computer uses. The hard drive is where everything is stored with your files and stuff. The read-write CD-ROM is basically it displays anything that's on pre-pressed compact discs that you may have. And you can read and write to those disks and save information as well. The video card, it pretty much connects the motherboard to the video, to your monitor, which you can obviously see things. The keyboard is for manually inputting data, we know that. The mouse is part of a point-and-click system, and the monitor obviously displays the images. Now that we've covered all the parts and what they do, now I'll explain how the parts work together to get the system going. The power button is pushed, sends power to the motherboard, which supplies power to the other parts. The motherboard is also known as the brain of the computer. It ties all the computer parts together, like I said, and basically everything that makes a computer must be attached to the motherboard. An important fact to remember is the design of the motherboard often determines the potential for upgrade of your system, so that's something good to know. Also, if it slows down, there are memory upgrade options that you can have, and we'll discuss that later in the speech. We will talk about the motherboard being the brain of the system, and we will say that the microprocessor, or the CPU, is considered the heart of the system. During startup, it coordinates, that is, the microprocessor coordinates and transmits commands to the other parts of the computer. The operating software, most of the time, is Microsoft, and it can have communication errors during startup as well. So it's good to know there are sometimes those blue screens that we call the blue screen of death, as some computer experts say. Your computer came with some software from Microsoft, so if you get those blue screens, you can easily be fixed by taking the disks that come with the computer and putting in a CD-ROM read-write, and you can also upgrade your Microsoft Windows and fix that problem. Also during startup, the random access memory, which is called ROM, it's the system where your data and software are currently being used. As an example of how RAM works, basically if you have a tabletop, you can put items on a tabletop. The more items you put on the tabletop, the less room you have. And that's the whole concept with RAM. The more files you have open, you put out on the RAM memory, it takes up a lot of memory. So that's when it can slow your computer down. If the computer starts slowing down, you can add more RAM, and this will help. In a 2008 article, Jonathan Strickland, senior writer of HowStuffWorks.com, said that adding RAM memory can be as easy as taking the side of the computer off, like we have here, and plugging a memory stick into the motherboard. And you can search the internet on that and find easily how to install RAM. So in a nutshell, the more memory you have, the faster your system will work. And the average computer should only take about 60 seconds to boot up. So remember, if yours takes a little bit longer, you might actually need some more RAM. So to keep that into consideration when your system is starting up. In conclusion, as you can see, the startup process is usually pretty fast. Everyone's computer is basically the same and not that complicated. Hopefully you will be better informed hopefully you are better informed about what's going on inside your computer after this speech. Now that you feel a little sure of what is going on, you can begin to type on that keyboard with confidence. If by chance you decide to take that side of the computer off to check or change some parts, remember an old IBM manual that once said, all parts should go together without forcing. You must remember that the parts are reassembled or disassembled by you. Therefore, if you can't get that together again, there's a good reason. By all means, the manual says, don't use a hammer. So good luck on those computers, and hopefully yours will start up, and now you'll be a little bit smarter about the system. Thank you.